Ever wonder if a dehumidifier the size of a small fridge can actually keep your basement dry without turning your whole house into a noisy workshop? Who is this actually good for, who should skip it, and is it worth the price for normal everyday buyers? Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon, and I'm going to walk through the real-world considerations that most people skip when they first see a big capacity unit on a retail site. When I started looking at whole home dehumidifiers, the first thing that tripped me up was the sheer variety of capacity claims. An 80 pint per day rating sounds impressive, but you quickly discover that per day is measured under ideal lab conditions, 15°F temperature, perfect airflow, and no other moisture sources. In a typical finished basement with concrete walls, a leaky foundation, and a humid summer night, the actual extraction can be a good 3,040% lower. That's why I dug into how the AprilAire E080W actually performs in the environments most homeowners care about: crawl spaces, unfinished basements, and whole house setups that span up to 4,400 square feet. First off, the Wi-Fi integration is the feature that sets this model apart from the older, dial-only units you see in a lot of hardware stores. The Healthy Air app lets you set a target relative humidity, usually around 45%, and then walks away. The app also pushes alerts if the unit hits a fault condition, like a clogged filter or a frozen coil, so you don't have to stare at a blinking light for hours. For anyone who already uses a smart thermostat, this feels like a natural extension. No extra hub, just a straightforward connection to your home Wi-Fi. That convenience, however, comes with a trade-off. The unit needs a stable 2.4 GHz network and a reliable power source. In a basement that only gets a single outlet, you'll need an extension cord or a dedicated line, which adds a small installation cost. Now let's talk placement. The E080W is designed to sit on the floor, and its intake and exhaust grills are positioned low enough that you can slide it under a low-profile door or into a narrow crawlspace opening. I tried it in a 12-foot by 14-foot unfinished basement with a concrete slab floor, and the unit fit without any need for a custom platform. The real test was whether it could handle the humidity spikes that happen when the outside temperature drops below freezing and the ground releases moisture. Within an hour of turning it on, the relative humidity dropped from the high 70s down to the low 50s, which is exactly the range that discourages mold growth. That's the kind of practical result you can see on a hygrometer, not just a spec sheet. Energy consumption is another point where the AprilAire tries to differentiate itself. It's Energy Star certified and uses R32 refrigerant, which is less damaging to the ozone layer than the older R410A. In practice, that means the compressor cycles more efficiently, especially when the ambient temperature is between 65°F and 80°F. In a home where the thermostat already runs the furnace or heat pump during those hours, the extra draw from the dehumidifier is barely noticeable on a typical 30-amp breaker. If you're on a tight budget, however, you'll want to keep an eye on your monthly electric bill, because running an 80-pint unit continuously in a very damp environment can still add a few dollars a month. Who should buy this? If you have a finished basement that you actually use as a living space, home gym, office, or a guest suite, the E080W gives you the peace of mind that humidity won't creep up and ruin electronics or cause that musty smell. It also shines for homeowners with a crawl space that sits directly on the soil. The unit can be placed in a small closet near the entry point and still pull moisture out of the surrounding earth. People who have already invested in the broader AprilAire Healthy Air ecosystem, like the whole house ventilation fans, will benefit from the seamless communication between devices, allowing the system to balance fresh air intake with dehumidification automatically. Who should skip it? First, renters in apartments or condos where you can't run a permanent appliance to an outlet in the basement. The unit's size and weight, around 140 pounds, make it a hassle to move up and down stairs each time you move. Second, anyone who lives in a dry climate where indoor humidity rarely exceeds 40% will find the unit overkill. A smaller, portable dehumidifier will do the job for a fraction of the price. Finally, if you're looking for a silent nighttime operation, The E080W is relatively quiet for its capacity but still produces a low hum that you'll hear if the unit sits directly in a bedroom or near a sleeping area. Practical strengths that mattered to me were the continuous drainage option and the built-in pump. The model comes with a standard hose that you can route to a floor drain, which is essential for long-term operation. In the test basement, the pump kicked in automatically when the reservoir filled, sending water up a few feet to the nearest drain line.